Appreciate everyone joining. Look at this. I think we have a dog in our presence. Shout out to Jason. We got so many people that are joining in from all over. Let us know in the comments, where are you coming in from? Colorado's always representing. Vancouver. Andrew's OG. Shout out to Andrew. Who we got else here? Audrey, Colorado. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Yeah, so we're going to have a lot to talk about today, and a lot to see. So we're going to jump in a little bit faster than usual. But I do think, one thing I want to ask before we get started, how many of you have joined the session before? Is this your first web app session? Let us know in the comments. Is this your first, or is this a second one? Let us know. Oh, we got a lot of firsts, actually. Surprise. Sixth. Okay, give a round of applause for Andrea. 6 is amazing. We really appreciate you. All right, we got another 6. Who is that? Erica. Give a round of applause for Erica. Yeah, this is amazing. Melanie, salute to you as well. See you, Boulder, in the house. Awesome. Been here a few times, Jason. I mean, what a culture. I'm really thankful everyone taking the time today. Tom, shout out to you as well. We will record the session, so I'll go ahead and jump into it. And if you're on, go make sure you can go on mute. I know I don't want to have to mute everybody, mainly because we will be talking today. But during the talking points, we'll have chance to speak. So I'll take you guys off of mute for sure. But as of now, if you're jumping in, just make sure you're muted. I know you might have some background noise. All right, you know who I am. What I'm here to do is to help you all be successful. And when it comes to every experience that you all have in your real life, the main thing you can take away from this is you don't have to be technical. You don't have to learn coding, and you really could just know the things that you know in your life. So if you know a lot of things about bird management, you can bring that into this technology as a means to express yourself. So as we walk through, I got to give a shout out to the team. Couldn't do it without Paola, Nagar, Maria, Josna. It is a full team behind the scenes that makes this possible. And so while we're here for the new folks, so this is your first session, shout out to the 6th person who's been here 6 times. You've heard this a good amount. But the point is, you all reached out to us and said, what's next? And there was a passionate desire for people to be able to get hands-on experience. So that's what we did. We looked at that. And then the fact that we had so many submissions, like amazing works of art that people put together, it really showed what's possible in this community. So from that ethos, we went to the drawing board. And what you got here essentially is us taking what you've done and really escalating it to a new level. And what that means is you can learn something today with us in a course. And through learning that, we'll be able to share those projects, the things you learn how to do, making videos, producing web apps, making business applications. You'll be able to publish that to our platform. And we are going to be able to promote you on our platform of 6 million followers. So imagine we can learn, figure out a skill set, and then actually build an audience. Like, this is an unmatched opportunity. So I just want to tell you, no matter where you are in your life journey, no matter what brought you here, my goal really is to make this dream essentially real, where someone could learn something, develop a skill set, and go from 0 to 100. And that is something that is really going to be an example of today's call. Because I actually have a previous student that participated in one of our previous courses here to share today. So we're going to move fast. I'm not going to cover much on like the details of some of the things that we're going to share today. There's going to be a recording available, and we'll be sharing tons of files. So if you can't fully follow along, that's okay. But the key is I wanted to give a mix for people that have been here for their 6th time and for someone who's here for their first. And here's the main thing. Going from that moment, my intro level, no matter where you are, we all started as introductory participants in this AI revolution. And so in that moment, the people who become publishers first, like now, is like when the internet happened. The people who, or when social media happened, there's an opportunity window that is so powerful for every one of you. So again, even if you find today's session a little technical, maybe a little bit harder to grasp, stick with it, because I can't tell you enough the opportunity at hand. There's problems in every industry to solve what we're going to learn today. How that sound? Y'all ready to go? Let me know in the chat. Let's do it. Awesome. Well, we got 3 sessions that we're covering. Today is web apps. And what I mean by web apps and why web apps is important for those that are new is it is the technology that the whole world has been building for the last 30 years. You can do anything in a website, pretty much. And that's because with HTML5, for those that don't know, HTML is the actual, website, and then the JavaScript, which is the coding of how it works, and CSS, which is how it's styled. These 3 file types have allowed for all of the World Wide Web to be powered on every site that you use. And what that precedent lets you do is not have to worry about the complexities of code management. You could just build a website. So if you take the things you learned today and you apply it to web development, it is it's an open space, because the level of like technical issues that makes vibe coding hard today is because you have to know about coding libraries and dependencies and library stacks and all these data flow challenges. None of that is involved with web development, because the whole industry over the last 30 years have made that easier. So what I have to share with you today is some tactics that will let you take any idea and turn it into a working web app. So let's see here. I'm gonna switch my screens 1 second. Let me see if you can see this. There we go. Sorry, I muted myself and I couldn't unmute. There we go. I'm back. So we're gonna walk through, some real simple things. If you have access to ChatGPT, you can follow right along. But as we're doing this, let me know in the chat, what do you want to get from today's session? We're gonna move forward. I'm gonna keep showing some of the things, but just keep that coming in the chat, and then I'll circle back as we get to the open speaking time. All right, so let's go. What we have today is a simple concept. You know, maybe a little bit about what vibe coding is. Well, you know what vibes are, you know what coding is. But the key idea here is we're creating functionality. So we're making working things. It's not just a picture or an image or a video, it's an interactive thing. And those come with concepts like the user experience. And so, what I want you to think of it as, I don't have to know all the technical terms, but what I can do is I can make web apps. And as a web app, really what I'm doing is I'm making personalized apps. And so if you take that perspective, whatever problem you want to solve or whatever technology you're aware of in your space, whatever workflow you know about, there's a strength of your own awareness that you can use to learn these technologies. So much more of what we're going to share today is, again, it's all about expressing what you know already. So what we're going to do, first exercise. And so I'm going to give you the link. It's going to be available for everyone to be able to get. So I'm going to go ahead and show you here what this looks like. Let me switch screens. So if I'm in the academy, if you go into courses, you'll see that we have the intro to generative AI. This was the AI in 5 course that we all took. If I click on that, you'll see that it takes me into the course hub where we had before. You'll see this recordings and assignments and additional resources just like we had before. You're going to click this additional resources link. This is what's going to take you to the folder that shows all of the details. And you'll be able to use this to then essentially get access to not just what I'm going to show today, but any of the other resources we've shared throughout the entire course. And so just giving you a look here, the course setup today that we're going to focus on, you'll see that there's these files called exercise 1, exercise 2, and exercise 3. So just for those that don't know, you go to GenAI Works, you go to academy.genai.works, and that's where you get this link. And I know, Paula, you're in, you can put that in the chat for everybody so they can access to it. But essentially, you'll get to this additional resources folder. And in there, you'll see where it says exercise 1, exercise 2, exercise 3. So for everything we're going to do today, you'll use this to get access to it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to download this exercise 1. And what that's going to allow for me to do is get access to the file that I'm going to show and walk through today. All right. So let me open this. Okay, so you can see this here. What we have is we're going to do a simple thing. Like in ChatGPT, you're going to essentially download that zip file. You're going to unzip it. And so just double click to open it, unzip, and then you're going to look for a file called Prompt Review Tool PRD. And what this is just a document file. It's going to be a .md file. So it's a markdown file. What that's going to let you do is you can take that and then import it. So just upload it to ChatGPT and ask it to do something with it. And so what we're going to do, the most base thing, is we're going to make a wireframe for this idea. So what you're essentially going to be able to do from today is take any document that breaks down a product or an idea. So you can just write down your ideas, give it to ChatGPT, ask it to polish it. And then once you have your ideas together, you can then ask it to generate a wireframe. And from this wireframe, what I'm going to show you how to do is turn that into a fully working app without having to go through as much of the struggle prompting back and forth with the LLM. So your ability to be effective and really cover a lot of ground fast and explore ideas is the name of the game. So let's do it together. Let's do an example here. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into ChatGPT. I'm just inside of ChatGPT for those that want to see here. You can regular ChatGPT. So if I just hide this, so it's just all you can see here is, everything that you'll follow along. So if you just pull up ChatGPT and then put them in the side-by-side window, if you got 2 windows, you'll be able to do exactly what we're doing together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that file that's essentially called Prompt Review Tool, PRD. I drag that in, and then I'm going to take the text from this here, and I'm going to put it in the chat for everybody just so they have it. There we go. Yeah, I recommend doing it if you have a ChatGPT or paid account. You can do it as a project. I find that projects are pretty good just for keeping things all in one spot. So recommend it for sure. So what we're going to do here is we're going to paste this text in. So look like this. Again, simple text. If you don't have to do it word for word. The main important part is, can you use the following document, and then ask it to generate a wireframe. But this is the key. You're going to say using client-side HTML, CSS, and JavaScript only. What does that mean? What this is going to tell the system is that you only want to do things on your computer with that file. So it doesn't need to call to any separate server. It doesn't need to pull anything from some other website. It works completely in the file that you make. And so you're telling it to create the wireframe, but with HTML, the CSS, which is how it looks, and the JavaScript, which is how it functions. And that's why web development is such a great spot because it's so enclosed, meaning all I need is these three files. I don't need any separate external thing. And that's going to be the root of what makes vibe coding hard for all parties involved. Whether you're the super good, coder, developer, you're still going to find that like where these tools aren't that successful is when you're dealing with dependencies and other code languages like Python. If you can stick to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, you can do a lot under the sun. So I give it to this, and I'll say something like, give it to me. I said, give it to me as an HTML file I can download. Then I press enter. And so what this is going to do is take the details that are in that document, which that document describes how to make the app, what it should look like. What we're making is a tool that will help you create better prompts. So imagine with this tool made on your computer, you'll have a tool that's free that you made for yourself that'll help you be better at prompting. And so that's really what, if you take it to a base example we can relate to in real life, it's almost like taking dried foods like ramen noodles or like dried fruits and vegetables, and then being able to rehydrate them and create things. It's such a base thing we experience in life. We all can relate to that. And what's brand new here is we can do that with software. I can take a product, turn it into a document, and then you can on your computer turn that document back into a product. That is, a phenomenal space, and it will be the equivalent of 3D printing in your home. Being able to you download a file of mine and then be able to 3D print it. Well, that is the same concept of what we're doing. So if you just kind of look through here, right now it's actually working and making that HTML file for us. And so again, you notice I didn't never ask you like how does HTML work? What is HTML code? But what you can do is you can do that as you're going about it. So even if you don't know a lot about these technologies, as you start to do it, you can ask questions to the AI and say, so how does this HTML work? Or what is the way I can leverage it? So don't, miss out on the opportunity to learn while doing instead of, learning to do. It's a very simple concept, but that's really the shift in focus that's gonna get you a lot of value. You'll do simple things like this. And then once you do that one step and it starts to do the work for you and generate things, then you'll take some time to just ask questions to the AI. Like, how did you do that? What did you look for? What would you prioritize? And that really is that curious mind approach that's going to take you a long way. All right, so this is cooking up. It's almost there. So from as this is working, what you're going to do once it's done is you're going to download that file. Now, you could download it, or if you wanted to yourself, you could just copy and paste it. But what you're going to do is use that for the next step. So I'm going to show you here on the screen. You can see the next step here. Once we have that file, we're going to re-upload that new file they're going to give you, that new HTML file, and the original prompt tutorial. So if you take that document, that PRD document that we had, that we initially uploaded, and you re-upload it with the HTML and then ask it to generate a new document, you can ask it to make new things. And so this concept that you're learning right now is called advanced staking. And what I mean by staking is like, think of it like climbing a mountain. As you're going up, you might put a stake into the wall and you nail it in so that you can go a little bit higher. This is like a different way to approach it because right now, if you tried to do this with just prompting alone, people talk a lot about prompt engineering, you would spend so much time typing that you would never get nothing done. And so also, yeah, the name of them is PRD. You're going to use the MD files. So for those who don't know, MD is a markdown file. Yeah, that's the one right there, Paula. Great, thanks for sharing. Markdown files are text files that code can read better. So if I give a document like a PDF that we all use as like normal work, then it will have to process and convert that into another format that it can use. So you need to send the file types that are better working with AI. And the text file is what you could use, but text file doesn't let you add things like bold and special characters, certain things like that. You can't emphasize as much as you can. So Markdown is great because it lets you. It's a text file that holds format. So if I have like a bold and like stuff is italicized or different color, like all that could be in that Markdown file. Then it can't be in a text file. So Markdown files essentially are what you're going to be using most of the time when you're vibe coding. So yeah, just bringing it back home. You're going to do this next step. We're going to do this together. I'm going to give you all the text here. We're going to go back to ChatGPT. We're going to pull it up here. And over here, see it's been done the work. And our file is ready. So we download that wireframe. We're going to do something like this. You're going to download it. And again, this is where I could ask questions. How would you do something? So I could ask questions like that. But for this step, we're just going to take this text and I'm going to put it in the chat for everybody. Boom. Oh, wrong one. Just do this new one. There's a new one. So what again, you're just going to ask the AI to do something like this. And it's really easy text. You can kind of copy it as I type it here. Then you're going to grab this time that PRD. And then I'm also going to grab, as I mentioned before, I'm going to go ahead and grab that HTML. I'll grab that, bring that in here. Boom. There we go. Took a little second. So again, your text is going to look very similar to this. The key thing to keep in there is that can you use this wireframe? So you're saying, hey, this is not a full app, just use the wireframe and generate a new, what's called a markdown file or .md file. And then you're going to ask it in this scenario to give you a detailed user experience. Think of that as like taking a balloon. So you have like a thin sheet and then blowing, or like you're about to blow a bubble and then you blow the bubble. And that blowing of the bubble is your user experience. So right now you have a flat sheet. You have this wireframe, just a literal page, doesn't do anything, doesn't move, doesn't change. It's just the order of things. You then can take that flat sheet and ask it to show how would you use it over time, meaning what is the user experience? That's you blowing air into that bubble. And so you now have what's going to be the potential for people to do stuff. And that bubble, think, is literally a cloud, like a probability cloud. Now, I'm not going to get too technical. We're keeping high level, but it's an important concept to understand is that this is why this process works and it's so simple. It's because you're doing like real world analogies in these workflows. So if you don't understand exactly what you're doing, if you know how to blow a bubble, you're good. And so in this scenario, we're going to ask it to take that flat plane, that simple wireframe, and then describe to you and then save like how that will work and how people will use it, and then save that to a file on your computer. So I do that. Now, what this is going to do is, again, give you that detail. And so we just staked another use case. So now that we can go and flesh out the user experience. So there's so much of this that is you're seeding. So you're starting with an initial document to seed something. So the creation of something new. And then from that, you're then using this advanced staking to create a bigger pool of detail that you can leverage. And so now when I download this file, I can then use that file. And so if I go in here to additional resources, I just drag this one here so you all can see the file I just made. And then I'm going to share the additional resources here. So you see that file I just dragged, you'll see it in there. It's called UI UX. And you'll see it has the details, the overall experience, and it'll talk about how the people will use the tool. And you see, like, you'll see, like, there's so much of this styling that in general doesn't matter as much for us. It's just visual. But for the AI, it helps make it more potent. So imagine if you were prompting, and so anyone telling you like prompt engineering, kind of turn your ears off because what they're showing you is like the older initial way of engaging with AI. What is now and what's going to be the current future is about context management. So context engineering might be the word. The final word they're still negotiating on. You'll see where it lands, but context is what it's about. You're not just one-off prompting. What this means for you is it's way easier. Like imagine trying to become the perfect prompter. It just is, it's insane. It's like becoming you know, a magician where you can cast spells. It's like you have to know exactly what to say, how to say it, and you got to type it out. Then you build your own little library of stuff that you use prompt to prompt. But like this is taking that to another level where you're using these documents or these staked documents to drive forward. So I'm gonna pause there. I know we covered a lot of ground. The main thing you learned how to do now is create the other documents you'll need to then take all of these documents and give it back to the AI. But anyone ask questions in the chat? Everyone following along? I'll take a second here to pause. And here's that text again for everybody. I won't let you copy the chat. Okay, what I'm gonna do is I got something else for you that might help. So what we can do is we're going to go to this document here. You'll see it's called example prompts. And so I'm going to go ahead and go here. I'm going to rename it just so it's more clear to create web and business apps. And we're going to make a new tab. There we go. Web prompts. And then we're going to make this business. So if you go here, this link is where I'll put the details. Let me grab that. Boom. All right. So everything's there. You should be able to get that. So just in case anyone has any issues, you'll be able to get every prompt right there. Sometimes, Zoom's a little finicky. So appreciate everyone who kind of worked through that issue. All right. Maybe answer one or two more questions here in case anyone has them. Erica's crafty. Appreciate you trying, I'll try to make it sure we'll go to the document every time for people, make it a little easier. How do I make an original? Oh yeah, so exactly the way it works. So for those that want to know, now that you know that markdown files are your file source that you're going to be using, the file type, you can go to ChatGPT at any time and just upload or any text that you want or anything you want to make and do something like this. So I'll just show you here. There we go. So as I'm in here, I could just say something like, can you take my notes and generate .markdown.md file that creates, and again, this is depending on what you want to make. If you want it to be a project details, or if you want it to be a product breakdown, or a feature description, whatever you want it to be, you tell it to be that thing, and this will create that document for you. The key for us, we're doing client side, HTML, JavaScript, and CSS only. That's your main little piece of text that's going to power a lot of this, that lets you make sure you're only making a website from it. And so then once I have the thing I want, I can then download that, re-import it, and say, make something that complements this. So if it gives me, let's just say, the product requirements document, like we just did, I can have it make the wireframe. Once I got the wireframe in the product doc, then I can ask it to break down the user experience. Now, for what we're going to do next, I can say use all three documents. So that's what we're going to do for this one. Use all three documents, and then I'll just upload those documents again. So I'll drag my UI UX document. I'll drag my PRD. And then I'll lastly drag my prompt document. Again, I'm not prompt engineering as much as I'm context engineering. And you can tell because my prompts aren't that like meaty. They're not that large and long. And what that means is you have a very like clear way to just experiment. It's really easy stuff when you break it down. If you can copy and paste, you're pretty good. And then again, don't hesitate to ask questions along the way. All right, so everyone's able to use that. Okay, boom. Let's go and do the next one here. So what I'm going to ask this to do now is the final step. What this is going to do is define the breakdown of JavaScript. I'll put that in there. So what this is going to let you do is create a document that describes how the backend and the middleware will work. What does that mean? Your HTML is like the wireframe. It's the scaffolding. Your CSS is what you see, and your JavaScript is how it works. So the JavaScript underneath the hood is where it's going to be behind the scenes. So the back end powering the front end, meaning the middleware. So even if you don't like understand any like jargon of HTML, it's super straightforward stuff. I have a front end, so I have my website, and then something's powering how that functions, so I can click stuff and move stuff around and change things. Like that is JavaScript. Okay, so that's my back end, and it has to be able to connect to my front end to make it move and do stuff. All right, so that's my middleware. So how it connects is the key. All right, so from now I have the wireframe, the PRD, I have the UI user experience, and then I also am asking it now for the backend and middleware. Click enter, same thing, and then I can say give it to me in a file, in a md.md file called middleware and backend MD. Now, again, very simple script, and I'm going to update the one that we have in this document here, just so we have that. Now, once I have all these pieces, in place, I then can take everything that I've created, those 4 documents, and then put it in any vibe coding tool, whether that's ChatGPT, whether that's Cursor, Bolt, Replit, any of the tools in the market. I can use those 4 or 5 documents to have it make a full app. So again, in this scenario, I literally just say use all the documents to make a fully working one. Again, if I'm in ChatGPT, I could do it there. Any coding tool, you could do this, and you're just going to upload those same documents. So I'd go and grab that middleware, UX, UI, grab all those, throw those in there, and then go also grab my tutorial. And then you're going to grab another document that we've shared in the additional resources. So in the additional resources, you'll see that there's another document there called Omni Guide. This Omni Guide document is going to break down for AI how to really code web apps for you. So by adding this, think of it like the MSG to make your food taste better by letting the salt and everything bind better to your receptors. So you get a little bit more of that umami. Well, this is the umami document that you're going to add to anything you generate. If you use this and add this every time, it will make it to where you have less work getting the AI to do what you want it to do. And so imagine if you were prompt engineer and someone's like, we're going to prompt engineer this, you would spend, how much time would you spend writing this document? Like you would just spend your whole time making a prompt. Like it's not feasible. So that's where, again, this whole idea of context management is going to be what you do. Yeah. So some questions, we're talking client side backend. So I think there was a question there from Gil asking like, are we going to be using, web servers and app servers and database? No, no, no. So there's server side backend, meaning it's running on a server somewhere and your app has to call to it. And then there's client side backend, which is you're using JavaScript to have a backend in itself. And that's what I mean by web development is so fleshed out. Over the last 30 years, the whole world has been building its protocols because that then lets you be successful in a way to where you could do everything in just JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. You don't need backend databases or data stores or Python. You could just run it all with that. Now, it's not as complex, meaning there's like a level of what you can do, but it's not as limited as you might think. The internet has made amazing things possible. All right. So yeah, you could use React. I think again, the libraries, whether it's for those that are more technical, Next.js or React, like I generally let the AI make those choices depending on what the use case is. But this file does help you optimize your code generally. So if you're using any kind of libraries, this will help it manage the general logic. So if you just kind of look at it, this is some of the concepts that it knows. So let's just say it needs to redo your app. Instead of you telling it how to do that, it makes sure that it understands the current implementation. It'll read the relevant code. It'll identify patterns. So you're not as much like telling it to do a thing as know how to do things. So you can leverage React or whatever you want. Yeah, can we show? Okay, there we go. Somebody threw that link in there. That's the link. You're correct. I think that's the link. Appreciate it. Definitely. So again, I know we have people at all levels of the spectrum. So bear with me if you're a little bit more senior, you've seen some of this stuff, and you're like, Sam, this is all familiar to me. But for those that are new to this, and you're kind of like, this is a little bit more than I've ever seen or known. Again, rely on the simple analogies. We're blowing bubbles, you know, we're staking, meaning we're climbing a mountain and we're staking some documents. We're seeding, so we're planting seeds. So it's just really easy stuff if you break it down from that perspective. So let's get to the next final part here. So once I've generated my app, and this is what you're going to ask it to do as the final step here. So just so we can see, if I go back to the wireframe here, it's made my backend. I gave it to this. I told it to make a full working app. So that app that it's going to make is going to give you the 3 or 4 different files that it's going to provide. And those files are going to really be the actual application itself. So I take that files that it's going to give me, but I've already went ahead and did one for you. So if we go ahead and go back to the Gen AI additional resources folder, you'll see exercise 2 will have a working version of it already built out. And so you can actually use that file to then, take, instead of waiting on one to be generated, you could download that now, and then you can do the step I'm about to show. And so the final step is, how do you know what it built? How do you evaluate it? And this is just the final concept we'll have before I bring on our guest for today. If I switch over here, you'll take a look. It's kind of like diamond testing. Like the harder part of vibe coding is what happens after you make it. So as you generate these tools, you need a way to come back and evaluate, is it real? Am I dealing with gold, or is this fool's gold? And that is something where you're really going to be able to make the biggest gains in what you learned today. So the question is a very simple one. How can I tell how complete an application is? And how do I verify the levels of complexity? So say it said it's doing this and it's going to run this process, or let's just say this tutorial, prompt review tool that we're sharing, it reviews your prompts and help you make better prompting. Well, some of that stuff is easy, like let me type in my information, but how exactly is it reviewing my prompt? Like that is a question of how it functions. And then the recommendations it gives me, how good are those recommendations? So that's the whole idea here of the most important phase of vibe coding, which is the ability for you to assess what's built and then iterate on top of it. If you can make gains here, you can be a professional vibe coder. And I know you're like, what does that even mean? What's a professional vibe coder? Because today it's a very nascent thing, but there is going to be a professional level where people do it at the enterprise quality, and then people who are just generally hobbyists. Everything's attainable because it's brand new for all of us. And so visual is easy to see. Like it's easy for me to see how something looks, but I might not have full visibility and into everything and how it works because of how it functions. Meaning I can see what it does, but I don't know how it does it. And when you look at the function, getting under the hood is really hard to do if you don't know coding. So this is what I'm gonna provide you with is a way for you to make sure you're effectively developing and coding. And so this is a simple thing. What you're going to do is you're going to take that exercise 3 document, it's the final one, and you're going to add that to all the other resources that it imports, it gives you. So when it generates that app, that working application for you, you're going to take that whole file, all the JavaScript that it gives you, the CSS, the HTML, and you're going to re-upload that back into the ChatGPT, and then you're going to upload this document. So you'll see it here. Again, if I go to exercise 3, it looks like this. Let me switch over. It's going to look like this, and this is going to be your executive summary. So this is where you're going to be able to, use this web application evaluator to evaluate, does the app do what it says it does? Again, I don't have to know any of the code of what it made, how it works. I can literally just use this one document to tell me and evaluate how is the application working. So by adding this file into your ChatGPT, what you're essentially doing is you're giving yourself ability to test in a very standard way. That testing is going to be your foundation for growth. And so with that said, I've given you a ton of resources today, some great examples. With everything you learned today, you can become a professional level vibe coder. And what you notice is I didn't say you had to become a professional coder. I didn't say you had to become a professional product manager. What you're able to do is learn as you do, which is a powerful thing. And so with that segue, I want to give a shout out to a phenomenal guest that's joining us today. Melissa was a part of one of our previous seasons that happened prior to the AI in 5 course called Vibe. It was Intro to Vibe Coding. It was season 2. The work that she did was phenomenal, like truly interesting stuff. And so just to give a little bit about her story, she was able to learn how to do some of the things. She joined a class just like you all did and learn some of the same concepts of seeding, etc. Melissa, are you there? Are you available? Make sure you're there in case I'm talking, you're
I
not able to hear me.
am.
Okay,
I
so you can hear
am.
this serenade. Amazing. So I'm gonna get
Thank
to
you.
her, but what she was able to do was actually work with making her own LLMs. So like imagine going from 0 to 100 in real time. She learned a ton about creating web apps and how to communicate and train LLMs locally. That is like phenomenal. And what she represents is every one of you on this call could be in that same position. So we celebrated her. She won the Pioneer Award for this season. And now she's here to share with you. Melissa, floor is yours.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. So I'm going to piggyback off of Sam. And the reason being is because I started in the same position you guys are. I do have a background in IT, but I am far from being a programmer. I can read a little bit more programming, but from doing these courses is what really has taught me to elevate programming in general. So I can determine when AI is kind of stuck and I can go back and go, show me where you're stuck at, where the code is broken, where I don't like it. And I can tell it, Okay, show me what makes this window look like this. And then I can go in and go, oh, I see what you're doing. And then I know how to tell AI, this is the section I need you to fix, and I need it to look like XYZ. And then it can go in and change it. But I stopped liking doing that because him giving you those markdown files is absolutely crucial. So I become obsessed with his markdown files and how to make my own. And so I kind of like, if you read what he does in those markdown files and how he's building them, you can literally train your, you can literally train the window you're working in and the chat that you're working in to build things in the way you need to. And then when you take it into your coding window, you can turn around and make it become accelerated in how it handles it. I have less trouble troubleshooting now because of markdown files. So when he tells you seed things, when he tells you add these files in here, you're literally telling the system, I need you to behave in a certain way. So read those files that he's having you give it, because then that kind of tells you what you're telling the AI to do. So everything that's in there is literally a way that the system, and it's a way that the AI understands it best, is the way it's written. It's so it makes it very short, very precise, and it tells the AI exactly how I want you to behave doing these certain things. And it's amazing. It will cut your time down. So what I did is I took his cues from making these markdown files and I started making my own, such as I'm doing the front end, I'm doing the back end with my web designs, right? So I want to make sure that I'm using JS. I want to use HTML, but say I'm adding stuff that's specialized for phones and I want to use React. I want to use Flutter. I want to use Tailwind in it. So I can tell it, I need you to become an expert at these items and to create the AI to believe you are an absolute expert in these products. Generate me a markdown file that makes AI an expert in all of these languages. And it will generate you a markdown file similar to the things he's doing, so that when you go tell the coding IDE that you're using, it'll tell it each one of those things, the best practices, how to troubleshoot around it for each of those coding languages. And you will have less trouble when it comes to troubleshooting. So you go, okay, you're stuck here, refer back to your document and make sure you go and troubleshoot. And sometimes you can take it, tell it, use one-shot prompting or some of those other things. Tree of thought I use a lot when it comes to something where it's really stuck on. Use tree of thought problem solving when it comes to going through this type of error. So a lot of that will allow you to tell it to really sit and think, an ultra think on an item, really gets you through these products and tell it, I need you to really sit and think about what you're doing, because what you're doing is not fixing the issue that I have. Okay, so I'm going to show you. So like a website that I'm building right now is one of these. This is my Hype Hub Fit website that my wife is using. She wanted a website that would allow her to track whatever type of exercise that she's doing. And in that, she can do achievements that keeps her motivated. She can have her friends to it. It's kind of like a website that is designed for motivating her and her friends. And it meets social media, meets motivation, meets fitness all in one. So it was very complex and AI kept going in circles with it. So what I wanted it to do is make sure that I stopped going in circles. You spend a lot of time using credits or if you're using Augment, you use a lot of contextual information that takes up your resources as far as how you utilize it. So when you give it those markdown files, so I started building markdown files in order to combat that. So once I started giving it, okay, I'm using React because I need it to work well on phones. I'm using Flutter because I'm using it on phones as well. I was able to allow it to be an expert in those products. So when it started troubleshooting, I told it to ultra think when you're going through the error for this area, and it will go through and go, you're right, I'm having an issue with this. I need to take a step back and go through my troubleshooting of this area. And it would clear itself up by going step by step by step by step by step through the last things it did, and then reiterate through the issues that it went through. And then it would go, oh, I found the semicolon it missed, which is similar to what a human makes. So it would find the issues and correct them as it goes. Okay, now that I found that semicolon, oh, I'm missing a block of code here that would actually tell the phones it would do this in order to allow it to go to the next page. So that would help it actually move on forward. So currently I'm using Cursor, Augment Code, and I'm using VS Code. So I actually flip between the two of them, and then I give it the same documents each time I switch between the products. So I just make sure that when I'm in my folder system, see if it'll flip. Apparently it's not going to flip. There it goes. So when it goes in here and I'm like, and this is the brand new, fresh, say, product that I'm going to make, I've generated a whole file for it to utilize. It wants to open AI. So let me try to open it in text. Open with. I'll tell it to utilize one of these programs based on a document that I made. And this is the same thing he's doing. So here are the requirements, it's plans, it's code generations, assessments, it's grading valuation on how it's going to do it, the protocols and the languages it's going to utilize in which it makes it. How is it going to handle its UI interface and the user experience and when it deals with it? What kind of security, what kind of code is it going to utilize for that? Am I communicating with Azure? Am I communicating with AWS when I utilize some of these things? So each one of these markdown files you utilize, you can have it used for a different purpose for each of the things that you communicate with or you're doing. It can be just having as simple as AI guidance. You're telling your AI in order to communicate with you how you want things to react. It's basically just guidelines you're giving it in the way that you want it to function. So the best product, you guys, if you did the 5-day course, you got Perplexity. Perplexity has been an amazing product that I've found. And Perplexity has this function in here with it does a lab thing with it. I do it on my phone all the time. Does it let me do it in here? When you set the lab section to it, you can have it do research. It will actually build you the files that you need. So I don't know if I can show you the previous ones I did, because the previous ones I did, it actually gave me every single file that I needed in order to build an entire website, to give it the MVP that you need, which is the basic functioning website. So I've been able to build functioning right out of the gate websites with Perplexity. So it's hands down. So after this year's subscription is up, I'm keeping it. You can do the same things with it what ChatGPT does as far as searching information, getting research, just like ChatGPT does, but it goes one step further, and that I build my markdowns with it because it will show you all the files in which it used in order to do research as far as how to talk to the AI as far as generating the markdown. It'll give you the information that it searched, even Reddit, people that have used Reddit in order to communicate with other people, like other IT people that have built their own files. So I've had them go as many as 50 websites that it's gone through to do the research to build me a markdown file that does exactly what I need it to do. And it's not going to let me show you in here. These are all different websites it shows you, which is kind of a bummer. If we're on my phone, it would show. Does it show? No, doesn't show over here either. No, I don't know why it doesn't show. No. Oh, I'm so bummed. Even though it's connect. Oh, wait, here he goes. Dummy guides. Which one did I do? Here's one. So here's where I told it I want to design a piece of software that does creators. It can tag any of their products in such a way, no matter how someone copies it, right? That it can be determined that if someone stole it, right? So it goes in here and it goes through and searches all these resources. It's searched 80 resources on people that have either done this, talked about this. It goes through the steps that it took in order to investigate it. It even shows me the assets as if I were going to do this, what would be like networking that I would need for it. It would give me the files if I were actually going to build this. If there's marketing opportunity for this, it gives you all the information or all the pieces. Now, this one was going to be a little more difficult because it's hard because AI can't truly track files yet as far as can you tell because there's not really a true watermark that you can put on a file at this time that can't be kind of hidden, overwritten. They're still working on trying to really make sure that you can track someone's art. So this one wasn't going to be as viable and easy for me to try to tackle, but it did give me some ways that I could potentially utilize some pieces that because there are some things that you can do and make a business out of some of these pieces. So it showed me all the resources and things of which people have done, or there are researches currently going with digital watermarking. The problem is there's no communication between legality on following up. That's the bigger problem is that even if they do get caught, there's no legality. So there's two sides of the business and you can't go and really incorporate it into one. So it's a real fascinating thing of what Perplexity can do with these pieces. I highly recommend it, especially for making the markdown if you're serious. If you know what you want to make, Perplexity is amazing to build brand new startups as far as applications. If you need something that you don't know, start with Chat GPT. So those are things I've been kind of dealing with right now. Now, I don't know if you have anything else, Sam. Oh no, you can't talk. Let's see. Oh my God, did I not have the screen shared the whole time? I thought it shared. I am so sorry, guys. There we go. So here's the complexity I was showing you. This is the assets it shows. These are the steps it took. These are the sources. And here is when I'm looking at my different consoles, what my markdown files look like as far as how it's built that I was talking to you guys about. These are real crucial. They're amazing in order to have generate those with the perplexity, and they really can do amazing things, especially if you tell it that it is an expert at whatever you're trying to build. If it's a front end, a back end, or if it's using its whatever protocol you want it to do. If you wanted to build a game in a certain like Godot, you can have it become an expert in those languages as well. What else do we have? And ChatGPT is really good if you have different features for not knowing what you kind of want to do, but you wanted to generate items for you, like you've seen Sam do in class before. Those are great when you don't know. And then you can kind of take those ideas to Perplexity as well. But for the most part, if I know what I want to do, I've been going to Perplexity a lot. It's been a great item. This is the website that I was building. That's for my wife and her logging of her items for exercise for her friends, a mixture of the social media, doing the challenges. So working out some bugs with it, which is what I made the markdown files for. But it does have a platform in which it will join AI with it. So let's see what we have. Sam, you still out? Okay, let's see. One second, guys. He's saying I should be able to see him. Purchase. There we
There
go.
we go. We back. Jesus.
There we
Woo!
go. Oh my
That
gosh.
was insane. All right. So also,
And
I'm
there, the
sorry,
other
everybody.
button. There we
Appreciate
go.
y'all for bearing with us.
There you
Melissa's
go.
been on, she's never been a presenter
I'm
here,
not a
so she's
host
like,
on
she
this one.
wasn't
Yeah.
reading the chat at all, so she's like missing it all. But Melissa, I'm so grateful. People
Yeah.
were getting some value. Give Melissa a round of applause. I mean, I know it was rough. We couldn't see your screen half of it. We'll bring her
I'm
back another
sorry.
time. So what happened was she got defaulted as the host. And since like, we have it to where we had to turn off the audio unless you're, because people like jump in randomly, got noise from like
Mm.
dog stuff in the background, you couldn't hear me talking. So the whole chat and everybody's
Oh,
like, yo,
gotcha.
we can't see. And you didn't see. So again, for most people, I know like presenting is harder than it looks. So she was,
Mm.
you might not have saw that we were like shouting out in the chat, but
Yeah,
appreciate you,
no.
Melissa.
Yep.
All righty. So now that we're here, I'm gonna bring us on home. We lost a little bit of time, but that presentation I think was very thorough. So Melissa, I think some people said in the chat we need to bring you back for a perplexity tutorial. So we probably put that in the works. All right, thanks everybody. We made it. For those that stuck around, we might have lost a couple, maybe 14 folks, but hey, for the 50 that are here, I'm gonna bring you home and close you out with some gifts. So since you all were patient, I got some freebies coming your way. So we have a couple people in the waiting room. There we go. People jumping back in now. They found out we're good. So I got to make it up to you. But again, Melissa, so grateful. Your story is still, I think, every one of our stories. So again, one more round of applause for Melissa, everybody. Awesome. All right. So, first things first, let's talk freebies. We have a new product coming out tomorrow. This here is going to be a phenomenal opportunity. But when you think about like what we've done today, we've only been able to scratch the surface. Like literally the beginning. Hey, I heard somebody say we want to do a redo with Melissa. So I know it wasn't perfect, but Melissa, you got some fans. All right, we made a way. There we go. So what we're doing is we're taking it to the next level for people. So for those that want a little bit more and want to really like find a way to make money out of vibe coding, to be able to really innovate and become a real leader in the market, we got something for you. So I'm gonna play the video real quick. You'll be able to see it here. Make sure you have visual wise. Let me know if you can't hear it, but I'm gonna go ahead and click play. The future of AI artists. Well, that bass hit, didn't it? So, again, my job, my role, my goal is to make every one of you successful. So, I know it was a little bit of trials, a little bit of tribulations, but the output is going to be you're going to learn things that you'll be able to directly apply to advance your career. And so this drops tomorrow for everybody that's interested that joined today. Let us know in the chat. Just say, hey, I'm interested. I'm in. Just to give us a little bit of that insight. And what we're going to do is we're going to reach out to everyone that's on this list and invite them in to be able to use Vibe Methods. Now, the price of Vibe Methods is $10 a week. So just think of it simple, like the price of a simple sandwich. You go get you a coffee from Starbucks. But for that, I'm giving you working projects, actual tutorials, detailed use cases, and the things that you got today again had to be more general because again we have people from every level. Here we're going to be going deeper. So as far as key thing, you all will get the first 2 weeks free. So you just be able to use it for free, explore it, check it out, and then as far as use cases, no matter what you leverage from vibe coding to vibe design to business app development, we're going to be covering all those gambits and giving you cheat codes every week. So this is something that we will be doing continually. Whereas these vibe sessions, I think we only have a few more left. So these vibe sessions will be closing out. You said $10 a week, we could make it 1,000 per week and it pay for itself. I appreciate that. My mindset is I'm going to work hard for that money. Every dollar you give me, I'm putting all-nighters in to make sure I can deliver for you. Because I truly think what I saw with Melissa's story, with your story, every one of you, this is special. We didn't get a chance to like do this when the internet came out. I didn't get a chance to do this when cell phones were made, right? So I missed a couple of those big innovations, but and social media, I didn't quite go into it. But this is our moment to be at the front of something that's brand new. There's going to be new stars, new leaders, new people that are starting just like you are now. So for all that perseverance, for the people that stuck around, thanks for that time today, and expect to follow up from our team, reaching out and sharing the details on Vibe Methods. Appreciate everybody. Hey, well, I'll leave that. Maybe final questions. I'll stick around just because everyone that gave me some time. If anybody wants to ask me anything, I'll just stay around for maybe another 15, 20 minutes. And feel free to come off mute. I guess we can turn off the mute blocking, I guess. Is that me? Am I the host now? I think I'm the host. Maybe I am. All right. So anybody, you can unmute yourself. I just turned off muting. So in case anybody wants to ask a question.
What's up, Sam? Hey, I had one, man. So we're talking about the using the markdown files to kind of train the AI to be an expert, right? But my question was, I use Context 7 MCP server, and it's pretty good. I mean, that's something that probably works in tandem, right? I mean,
yeah.
The AI will
Great,
look
great
at your
question.
instructions, then it'll go and use MCP if it needs it, to find good docs, and then so they kind of benefit one another, I guess.
100%. What's really interesting is MCP is really that online. So what MCP documents are for those is a modal context protocol. What that means that modules are essentially code blocks. So there'll be a code that says create the start button. There'll be another code that says delete the website URL. Whatever the things, the functions are for a website, all that's listed in a text document. So all you're doing with the MCP is calling a matrix of different functions the same way you're using our document. So they are really the same thing. With MCP, it's on a server. So the key idea there is you're sending your request to some additional architecture. Now that can be run locally too, or it can be online somewhere, but it makes it so it's no longer just client side. Client side is when you just use these document files directly, you don't need to call no other space, but it's the same technology underneath.
Okay. So it might
Great
be
question.
kind of like a waste of context to involve an MCP if you just have a real precise document already right there.
Yeah, and it just saves you compute, right? Depending on your use case
Yep.
as well, right? You don't have to
Yep.
call something online. You could just do it instant on device.
How long until you think the recording? I was not able to get here till a half an hour late, which
Okay,
I
yeah, probably
apologize.
be probably turn it around by next tomorrow. You should be able to get see something. It'll be in the drive.
Okay. I was working from home today. I was looking forward to this, but I got sidetracked last minute. But
No, we
I
appreciate
appreciate
you.
it, man. I want to see the beginning part. I'm up to speed with the rest of it, but yeah, I just wanted to see what I missed out on. So I'll check back
Oh,
tomorrow.
well, thank you, Adam. We're glad to have you. See
Yeah,
you on the
man.
next one
Thanks.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Keep me posted. I've been trying to not miss.
Honored. And I think shout out to last thing, where you calling from, Adam? Maybe
Oh,
close
I'm in
out.
Houston.
Shout out to Houston, one of my favorite cities,
Oh yeah.
really great town, phenomenal people. And I think we had
Yeah,
another
some
person
of
come off
them.
mute as well.
Huh? All right. I'll
See you
pass
soon,
the
Adam.
mic, man. Thanks, Sam.
You got it. Anyone else who's going to share?
I've got a question, Sam.
Glad to
Um,
answer.
okay, so thank you so much for sending us the LLM last week. I downloaded it and it installed, and when it stopped installing, all I got was like a title screen. I couldn't get it to do anything. It was like a static screen. And I don't know whether, and then I tried installing it again and it kind of wouldn't install again. I don't know if I was doing something
Oh,
wrong.
okay. So you mean the free LLM?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll do it right here on the screen together. Let me switch here.
Okay.
For those that don't know, we gave away, we always got some giveaway for you around here. If I go here and I go
Yeah.
to free, this was the URL, and I put it in the chat again for anybody in
Yep.
case someone wants it.
So it did this, it downloaded, and then when it finished, it just said the name of the LLM and I couldn't get it to
Oh,
interact.
so one thing that you might note is might be so what browser are you using?
Um, okay, so I use a few. I don't know. I think I tried installing it on two browsers. I usually use Brave and Firefox.
Okay. So Chrome is a good one. I think Firefox should work too. But did you get to
Okay.
this screen?
I did not see that.
Okay. So
But that
what's
just
going to happen
flashed,
is,
right? I may have missed that.
yeah, so what happens is, just for those that are kind of paying attention online, what this is doing is it's storing a large language model in your browser. So you could turn your internet off and you'd still be able to chat with the large language model.
Which is
And so the
amazing.
first time it runs, it uses, essentially your browser to store the model locally. And so it has to recache it sometimes. It does a couple testing. It's testing for your unique browser and your unique computer setup. So it'll restart a couple times. And then again, this is a very I'm giving you guys access before it's actually released. So it's still not an official release. So bear with, it's going to be not 100% functional for all devices. But again, part of your insider look you'll get is you'll get to see some of these free tools before they're made fully public. So with that said, again, this one, what you're seeing is going to keep redoing and cleaning and checking for mine because I'm on a computer that doesn't have WebGL So web GPU, which is the functionality that runs on your website. So this will only work on certain browser types. And so if you use something like Comment or Google Chrome, those are really good ones. Opera is another good one, and it'll run. But if not, you'll see something like this where it keeps trying to check, and then it has like a list of 20 check downs where it's like, okay, that doesn't work. It'll try this, then it'll try that. But that list of check downs isn't fully comprehensive. So what I recommend is if you're not able to get it to work or it's not like loading, I would go to a different browser and try that. But it's a simple solution here. What it's doing, it's putting the model on your computer and then
Yeah.
locally using your computer's graphics card to run the model on your machine.
Where's
So
the interface? Is the interface in a web UI or is it like
yeah,
an
it's just a
extension?
website. So literally, when you click the link, it's just a website. So if I go
So,
there,
but you're saying if you're offline, you can use it. So how's that work?
yeah, so you just literally stay in your browser, and so you can once it's like on your computer there, you could just essentially pull up that page, and it'll be cached locally. So
Oh,
like
Will
if
it
I'm
the
on
show
page
up
now
in,
and then
stays.
I turned off my internet, I can still use it.
will it show
Okay.
up in downloads? Like where would I be able to
Oh
see
no,
it?
so you're not. This is the thing. You're not downloading it at all. It's actually just running in the browser like a website.
But I
Yeah,
thought
it's stored in the
everything
memory.
in I thought everything in the browser was wired, was activated through Wi-Fi. But is that not the
Yeah,
case?
yeah. So you're right. So that's how I get the files. But once I
Yeah.
have them in my cache, it's
Yeah.
almost like you ever like have it on your phone where you don't have internet, but you can still look at the site. And then when you get back to the internet,
Uh,
it'll update. It's because it's
like
stored a local version on your computer.
in
And
the
so I'm
working
showing you
memory.
now this process where it says it's caching. That
Yeah.
means it's actually downloaded it and it works like a web app on your computer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Okay,
know
that's
this is something maybe a little bit more technical for those. And what was
Yeah,
your
I was
name,
just.
ma'am? Make sure I get your name.
Oh, sorry.
right. Me?
Yeah, yeah, your name.
Oh, Ahila.
Ahila. Well, thank you,
Yeah.
Ahila. I definitely will see if you can send Paola a message as well. We can troubleshoot with you, just get you a chance to use it. But this is
Okay.
meant to be for folks, again, just to play around with. The actual official version will be uploaded to the Academy going into the end of October.
All right. Well,
Well,
this is
great question. Is
awesome.
anybody
Thanks
able to
for
pull it
sending
up?
it.
Anybody else is able to pull it up on their computer? Looks like.
Oh, do we need an invite or is it
No,
a?
you just click that link. It's free.
Okay, okay. I missed that part. Sorry.
Oh, no, no, good question.
I was able to pull it up on my computer, but I can't connect the little strings. I think it's because I'm doing a tablet computer. So
Ah, yeah. Yep. So it'll say you don't have GPU. So if you do need a laptop or something or a browser on that has that functionality. So there's some browsers like Chrome on that tablet that might work, but that's just something to experiment with.
yeah, it's a Surface Go with Windows 11. I hoped it would have worked, but I'll see what else worked for me. Thank you.
All's good. Okay, once it says AI model ready, you just click refresh.
Okay.
There we go. Great questions. I appreciate people. This is like a callback. People are actually using these things because my goal was to like, if I can give people a free LLM, then they don't have to pay for any kind of chat GPT to do some basic stuff.
Well, and what's nice is it feels safer because I've read some articles and maybe this happened a year or two ago and it's not happening anymore. But I've read that ChatGPT has, even when corporations are working on their like privately, they've made suggestions like private like proprietary ideas available to other companies. Like they're weird leaks that happen, right? This is still it's a moving, it's developing, right? And so sometimes it feels weird to put things in if you're working on developing a new idea and saying, okay, well, what's ChatGPT going to do with this? Like it's one thing what it's supposed to do with it, but it's another thing what it will do with it, right? So
Oh yeah, those are two different ball games completely. And I'm gonna switch screens here, stop this one here, and I'm gonna share something different. Let me do that. Share this one. And then I'm gonna go ahead and close this out. But you're right on, which is, you're gonna see this really become a bigger and bigger issue. Is, you're sending a lot of information to these companies. And so the ability for you to run it locally right now is a developer's task. Most people have to go use something like Olama, set up a different tool like any LLM, and like you have to kind of configure it yourself, get the model yourself. It's a little clunky. And so what I think this tool represents, which is coming, I think is really the core, is people will be able to run things locally and have their own models. And though
That's amazing.
that is just a whole new world.
So mine says AI model ready, but
Oh, you just click refresh.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I was
All
gotcha.
good. Yeah, so I could put like right now what I'm trying to optimize for is like making it work on so many people's devices for out the gate. And so on some devices, when the AI is ready, it won't only lets the user say start opening it up. And then so once you do that, it'll just stay on AI ready, but it's only certain devices depending on your permissions on your computer. And so once you refresh, it should load and it'll take you to the dashboard. And then you just go to the debate tab. And that's where you could talk to it like an LLM.
Yeah, mine started just loading again. So
Yep.
I
So
don't
what
know.
that's going to do is that's it testing loading from cache. Just say something like fetching from cache.
Yeah, fetching param cache.
Perfect. And so for those that are following along, I know you might not
Oh yeah, here it is. Got the dashboard. Well, I
have
had
it up.
it.
So then you click debate.
Well, it flashed at me, but it's doing its thing.
Yep. So what
Can
it's
I-
doing is recaching and saying, okay, now I got to this stage. Now let me test some of the other features, make sure they all work. So
Yep.
for me, what I'm learning, I think is really interesting. This shows where you all will be. Like the fact that I could make this is an extension of what Melissa showed you. And then when I made this, what I'm learning is how do you like not just make it work on one device, but all devices in all scenarios without a huge development team. Like normally to do that, I
Yeah.
need like Apple's Q&A team. And so the way I'm doing it is I'm putting in all these like progressive check downs where it's like, okay, if this doesn't work, then try this. And if this doesn't work, do this. And so that kind of like rule based is fragile. And so you have it's an art. So what I've been able to really get to is a point to where I can make it work on 70% of devices, from a cell phone to a desktop computer, as long as you're using certain types of browsers. And that is something that, just for what we're doing, this is bringing a application at the level of like, there's entire software companies that do this. So the fact that I can get to this level now, imagine where you guys will be in a year.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
We're having
Yeah.
fun. I know, appreciate everybody. Great question. Thank you for asking about LLM. And if you can reach out to Paola again, anybody has questions, I can make sure I surface through her. But final word, I know we stuck over a little extra minutes. I know we're 30 minutes over, so I just want to give maybe a couple more questions. Anybody who's in the crowd, give you the floor. Someone raise their hand.
Hey, if I close my browser, my cache is gone, huh? Right.
No. If you come back to it, it'll stay there. So you know how
Okay.
you ever says delete my browsing data? That's when it deletes.
Got it. Cool. And as far as models, what is it your own train? You fine tune
Oh no, so
something
in
for
that
this?
one, I'm using LLM. That's from Llama, which was the one that was made by Facebook.
Yeah.
And then it has access to pull ChatGPT. So if you have a ChatGPT license, you could put in your security key and it would only
Okay.
talk to ChatGPT. So you can use that. And it has a couple other models available, like DeepSeek as well.
Sure.
So it has, I think, 16 models. You can try a different one.
All right. Sweet.
Awesome. Great call.
So Sam, to get a higher rate of devices, doesn't each developer really like Apple, Android, don't they have sites that tell you what their current device is and what OS they support? Couldn't you get it to pull down each of their current lists of what is available?
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing a little bit. So
Is it? Okay.
so there is some of that. The thing you want to like be prepared for with this is it's a very fragile art of making this when these initial it's called initialization. So when you initialize an application or like turn it on, that logic can be finicky across different tools. So you have to like it's almost like writing bills in
The balance
Congress.
beam.
It has to be written just the right way where you do the least harm in a way. Because if I write too many
Okay.
complex rules, then it runs slow, it's janky, it breaks on other people's. So it's the
fragile.
art of writing just enough rules for it to cover most use cases. It's an art more than a science. And I think we had a couple hands. So anyone who's raised their hand, feel free to ask questions here. Then we got Charles. There we go. And
Hey
then
Sam,
there
thanks
we
for
go.
everything that you guys have been doing. I've learned quite a bit, but this is sort of a sophomore question. Um, I've heard that nothing that you put in chat is private, but then I've
Mhm.
also been told that if we're going to your preferences and all that, you can adjust your settings to where you say, well, don't feed back into, don't turn off the learning for chat, for like the things that you do, it doesn't upload to allow chat to learn from it. Is
Mhm.
there is that truly private or what?
Yeah,
Like if
this is the
you're
hard
trying to,
truth.
yeah,
Yeah,
go
this is
ahead.
the hard truth. The hard truth is it's private with stipulations.
Okay.
And those stipulations require your own hygiene. So some of the things that I do is I periodically delete the data from my account. And what that allows for you to do is take a little bit more control. So yes, I turn off those settings to feedback to your tool to learn from mine. But if you want to see what they have on you, you can easily do one thing. And I'll show you this here. If I go to ChatGPT and I go look into my account and I click where it says Pro and I go to my settings, you'll see data as like a piece of this. Like if I go down to my data controls, I can export my data. Your mind will be blown. You'll get a sense of all of what they're
Oh,
tracking on you. And that really gives you an understanding of like, even if I'm not having you share it, if it's on your servers technically could get hacked at some point, somewhere, somehow. And so even if you're having their best practices, there's a point where my data is in your tools. And so most companies, even after you delete it, there's like a time frame before they fully delete your data off their servers.
mhm.
And so that's why I just periodically delete, because sometimes that puts you in the trash heap that's kind of regularly going because you deleted it off yours, so it's off your system. Versus files that are actually, or content that's actually active, not deleted, that's going to take longer for them to delete because they only delete that once your account's been inactive for a certain amount of time. So these are just like basic hygiene, I guess you could say, more so. But the
Okay.
short answer is no, you're not safe, unfortunately. But that's not the worst thing in the world if you just do certain things like not sharing your own personal info, things like that, or using things like free LLM. Not that tool because that's just a demo for now, for you guys. So it's not going to hit like 100% like ChatGPT, but versions of that technology is to where the way to go is going to be.
Okay. I mainly asked that because not knowing, there's been some client work that I've done. I mean,
Hmm.
nothing, corporate or whatever, but still people who have some proprietary stuff. Um, so I guess I just need to go in there and delete everything for
Yeah, just
now.
make sure you delete it periodically. That's your biggest thing.
Okay.
Because like it's some
Okay.
remember, we're one of like millions of users. It's the
Yeah.
odds of somebody like looking at
Yeah.
your stuff.
Nobody's caring about Charles Jones. I mean,
No, no, but
so
no, no. The AI now, what's different, I was gonna say is they don't need to care about you. They have enough ability to scan your stuff even without knowing who you are. And so
uh,
like that's the thing where it's like again, deleting and cleaning is a good thing. And you generally are not gonna have to worry about much. So because you turned off that third party um data situation where you just say, no, I don't want you to use my data.
okay, thank you. One
Yep.
more question, and I don't want to hold the mic, hog the mic. What is, are there any opportunity? I mean, you guys do so much. You're doing it for free, and I'm grateful. I've turned on. I think I have like 5 or 6 people who've joined after the 5 in 5 that we did. Uh,
Mhm.
just
Thank
'cause
you.
I'm sharing it with everyone. This is great, but things like some independent office hours or some AI jam sessions, if you will. Uh, are, are any discussion for anything like that in the
Yeah,
future?
you stole the thunder. Charles,
Oh,
it's
my bad.
coming 100% no. So two things. So what happened was we're supposed to do a beta launch. That's what the AI in 5 was. It's supposed to be a small, but it blew up so big. But our real launch of our platform is at the end of October. So we've essentially kind of moved a little faster just due to the demand and the value everyone's been getting. So what you'll see is we'll have the ability for you to sign up as just like right now, you can go to the academy, get started in the top right, and you can create an account. But then we'll have opportunity for you to subscribe and for support. So you'll be able to do one-on-ones with our team. We'll be able to work with you, and then we'll also have the ability for you to sign up for that product I showed you, Vibe Methods, which again lets you get those jam sessions where every week we'll dig in, give you a use case, give you files to act on the news. So on Monday, let's just say ChatGPT drops a new tool. By that Wednesday, you'd have it in your hands with working builds. So we'll have those kind of offerings available. And then we're going to have tons of partners like the company at Cool giving free credit. So if you become a pro user, you'll get up, thousands of dollars worth of credits on these different AI tools. So for anybody that just like has the passion, we're going to remove the money element from you for a small price of like just signing up for that subscription account. You'll then be able to use any AI tools, all their discounts and all that. So the good short is I'm bringing a lot more for you, Charles, over the coming months, but stick around for the end of October. Great questions though. Appreciate you, Charles. Last one, I think you've been so patient. Sabrea. Make sure I pronounce your name right.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you. I was just wondering about the free LLM. I understand that it lives in your cache, but then when you're asking it questions and things, where does it finally pull your research from?
So
If
what you
it's
can
not
do
connected
is,
to the internet at all.
no, it's not connected to the internet at all. There's a tab called context.
Yeah.
And so in that tab, you can upload files to it. And so those files would also live in your computer on they're not uploading to anywhere online.
Right. So it'll only work based on the context that you give it.
Correct. And it's also a large language
it.
model, so it has like its own understanding of things. So you can and it'll show on that debate screen what it can do. It can do things like translation. It can help you like rewrite stuff. Like it just has the innate capability that LLMs have.
Yeah, I'm reading that right now. Okay, I understand now. Thank you.
No, great question. Appreciate you. Last one, where are you calling from?
Me, France.
France. Wow. What time? I'm sorry keeping you so late. What time is it?
No, it's only 8:30. It's fine.
Okay. I'm like, wow, it's like 8 hours. All right, cool. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Hey, everybody. I know we've stuck around. If anybody has any last question, maybe going once, I'll give you one more. Like, this is insane. I appreciate we had 30 people stick around. So half the people that joined today, we stuck around for a whole extra 30 minutes. That means a lot to me. And so I know I'll be coming with more freebies, more giveaways. Every session you join with me, you might get a little bit of a Christmas experience. So appreciate everybody's time today. On that, we'll be wrapping up. Take care, everybody. See you all
man.
soon.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Peace.